What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Early Wedge. My name is Nejad, and I'm joined by Rick Gehman. Have you had enough U.S. Open yet, folks? I hope not. Rick, how you doing?
I hope not. It hasn't even started yet. I hope they haven't had enough.
I meant the content because we're at that like sort of tipping point, I think, where granted, like the information's best right now, especially if we're going to talk like DFS and things of that nature. But when you get to Wednesday, especially with the big tournament, I think people feel like it's the same names that are coming up. It's the same type of conversation and that kind of thing. Rick, are you on overload or are you just cruising?
I mean, no, it's definitely like it's that part of the week where it's like, let's just play golf already. Let's just start that. But no, I'm still excited to do the other. But I get it. It's kind of a little bit different for sure.
I'm excited about some of the questions we already have in the chat. I don't want to get ahead of ourselves because I do have a question for you, Rick, like right off the bat. And I do want to point out Patrick McDonald is going to join us from Oakmont and going to share, probably some facts that we're going to want to know when we're finalizing bets and lineups and things like that. But the fact that One-Eyed Willie comes in here with a Victor Perez minus 125 over Mackenzie Hughes, I just love how random that question is, except for the fact that Victor Perez is somebody I mentioned on the Best Bets show. So we'll get to him. We'll get to some of those lower tiered names in a little bit. Rick, I'm excited to hear from Patrick because I do want to know, I think we all know what the course conditions are, but I mean, do we really? Like, I'd love to hear from Patrick on that. I want to ask you right off the bat before we get into questions. Accuracy or distance off the tee? You have to choose one.
Okay, distance.
Okay.
I just so distance off the tee correlates to other things better, right? So I know the conversation is always like, okay, well, would you rather be long or be straight? It's like, well, okay, if you're straight, it doesn't necessarily mean you're good at other things. If you are long, it probably means you have better club head speed, which means you're going to be better in the thick rough. It probably means that it definitely means you're going to be hitting shorter clubs into greens, which is going to be a benefit. So like, I think it just creates more better skill sets.
So here's the thing though. And this is where I'm getting caught up. And this is where maybe you can just educate me on this. When we're talking about club head speed out of the rough, we're usually talking about like a big time, like a harder core, rough that isn't necessarily as penal as this rough. I guess my question for you is when we're looking at club head speed, we're looking at guys trying to get out of the rough and trying to get a green in regulation. That's not happening here. That's how I see it. I feel like you're hacking it out for the most part because you're still too far away to get it on the green. Am I missing that? Is that just me just like making an assumption that's not true?
I mean, we'll find out. I believe that if that is even true, though, like if I can hack it out 40 yards longer than you, and I was already 20 yards longer than you, our hackouts, I'm now 60 yards closer than you are.
The flip side of that is if you're going for the accuracy guys, more often than not, they're not hacking it out. Yes, they're going to find the rough, of course, but not as much as the guys who are way like skewed distance over accuracy in a big way.
I 100% think that if you are playing out of the fairway, you are going to have a huge edge. I just don't think a lot of these guys are going to play out of the fairway very well. I think it's too narrow. I don't think the rain's going to help, but I just don't think you're going to have a huge edge if you play out of the fairway. I just don't think guys are going to be able to hit the fairways.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to look for what the difference is going to be with the accuracy guys in terms of, I don't want them to be super short in terms of like how often they're hitting it in the fairway relative to some of the guys that are more leaning on distance. And is it enough times?
If Colin Morikawa hits 50 fairways, he's going to win by like 10 shots.
That's the guy. What's so funny? Like that's the guy I almost wanted to bring up because he's the guy that is like absolutely shorter than a lot of these other bigger time names. The problem with Colin, he hasn't been playing particularly well as of late, but he's the guy that I feel like from a DFS standpoint, maybe I'm not putting money on him to win the tournament, but from a DFS standpoint, I feel like is kind of sneaky as I kind of look over at Rick Run Good to get a gauge of his ownership. I can't imagine he's going to be, Rick, a guy that's highly owned given what people are looking for here.
No, he's priced right below John Rahm, who's going to be nearly twice the ownership. And then it's like your pick of basically everybody else. But yeah, if he plays out of the fairway, if he has more fairways than everybody else, he wins the golf tournament. I don't know if that's going to happen, but he would be like the X factor, quite honestly.
Before we get into the questions, give me some names of some people that you think, just off the top of your head, it doesn't have to be a complete list, that have come to mind for you? Maybe you're betting on, maybe you're playing in DFS that have the combination of both, obviously accuracy and distance that you're looking for. I mean, obviously Scotty, John Rahm, Bryson, maybe Ludwig. Who else makes that?
Yeah, 100% Ludwig. Victor Hovland. Now he's going to have a lot of issues other places, but like you're talking about guys who are long and straight. Victor Hovland, Hideki Matsuyama, Corey Connors. Now a lot of these guys have deficiencies in other areas, but that they will separate off the tee.
Okay. Yeah. We'll get to some more of those names potentially later on in the show. Josh, I'll tell you what, before we get into questions, maybe we should take a break right now and hear a word from our sponsors.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ, streaming free anywhere you are.
All right, we're back on the Early Wedge, brought to you by BetMGM, the sportsbook born in Vegas. Put your questions or comments or bets in the chat. Tyler Miller says, which build will be more popular this week? Scotty and 5-7K guys, or Scotty plus another stud with 2 5K guys? Well, I think there's a third option there. I don't know that you need to go Scotty plus another stud plus 2 5K guys, but certainly potentially one. Rick, what do you think here?
Of those two options, I think the first one, which is Scotty and 5-7K guys, is more popular. For the average person to find 2 5K guys they like, with that, like, and you still get Scotty in the other scenario, I don't think that's happening. So I think it's Scotty in the 5-7s.
Can we discuss while we're here a couple of 5K guys that we like? You want to go back and forth and just kind of like name a few names that we would be willing to play? Not definitely playing, but we'd be willing to play. You want to start?
Chris Gotterup, I think, unlocks a lot of, like, if Chris Gotterup makes the cut this week, I win a lot of money because he's unlocked a lot of different stuff for me. 5,400.
Yeah, we brought him up certainly in all three of us. Really, we're high on him on the Monday show in terms of his potential upside. I believe it was 5,400. All right, I'll give you another 5K guy in Victor Perez. Graded out curiously well for me. I know his U.S. Open history is trash, but 4 years ago, I expect Victor Perez's history to be trash. 3 years ago, 2 years ago.
Matt McCarty, and I think it is a pretty big drop off from Gotterup to McCarty for me. But I mean, the dude's very talented. I think I worry this place is too long for him, but it's too long for like 90% of the field. He's been playing a little bit better as of late. He would be the next one.
Let's go one more round. I'm gonna go with I really hesitate to say this name. Maybe Japan's in the chat. Maybe is it Emiliano Grillo?
Yeah, that's a good one. Jose Ballester.
Oh,
yeah. I mean, it's just give me raw talent. I mean, he's better than all the guys that open qualified. He's better than some of the guys that have status in other places. He just signed with Live, but like what's going to be on the Korn Ferry Tour this year because of PGA Tour U. Very, very talented player. Moves it, but it's very raw.
I will go. I think some people will say this. I'll just close it here. We'll get to the next question. I think Joe Highsmith is on people's radar. I don't know that I'll play him, but I respect the upside there at 5,500. And then I'll just mention Mark Hubbard at 5,600. I think could make a cut. Upside certainly limited there. All right. We're going to Brad Merrill. He says, I used my 50% profit boost on Harris English first round leader. Let's go. Okay. So that was, Brad, you might've been the one to ask me on the last show or on Twitter. Because I put out 5 first round leaders. I don't know if you have any. In English, they were all between 50 and 90 to 1. English was one of them. And people were asking me if you could only pick one for us to use a boost on, who would it be? I mentioned Harris English. I lobbed that question to Mike McClure. And of the 5 that I put out, he said it would be English or Shane Lowry. I know you don't normally do the first round leader thing.
I don't, but Shane Lowry was the one that I had circled. He's a very high upside. The guys that can get hot with the putter and go nuts. Lowry tends to struggle more like when he's in the mix on Saturday and Sunday. So that would be a pretty good option. But you're right. This is not my area of expertise.
And frankly, this year it hasn't been. I've been great in the outrights, Rick, but first round leaders I have not been hitting like I normally do, which should be a surprise to no one as volatile as that market is. Zach Kasenki says, hi, Sia and Rick. I really am curious if the Ben Griffin story can continue. Plus 125 for a top 30 finish is good enough for me. Are the bright lights of the U.S. Open and the small fairways any concern?
No, it continues. Stats are really strong across the board. The stuff that does not, like, he's not going to wake up and all of a sudden not be able to hit it 182 miles an hour or whatever, right? Like that travels. So he's got this built-in floor now with the driving gains. The lights were not too bright at Quail Hollow where he finished T8. I think he is a very legit. I'm not going to call him like a star or anything like that, but like a very legit player who seems to be getting better all the time.
Yeah, I certainly don't think the bright lights are going to be a concern for Ben Griffin. I mean, he's just kind of proven himself on most stages, at least recently. He's just kind of playing golf, and I almost feel like he doesn't think this, but it feels like he's playing with house money in a sense, where he just seems like he's just kind of relaxed and believes in his game.
I think he's a confident dude, man. He's got, for being like a nerd, he's got some swag, and
that's fair.
I think he loves where his game's at.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. All right. The next question here. Well, this isn't a question, but I just want to acknowledge the comment. No love for Bryson yesterday seems to be really steamed up. Yesterday was the betting show. Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, first of all, Mike McClure likes Bryson. And the only, one of the main reasons, Rick, I have John Rahm, because the whole early wedge best bets show was like John Rahm from an outright perspective. I took him in the without Scotty market. But I was really just comparing the number to Bryson. I think they're both good. I like where John Rahm's game is right now. And it was plus 900 without Scotty versus plus 700. I figured I'd go with it. Do you have any takes on Bryson versus Rahm specifically?
No, I'm pretty high on both of those guys. I think I was getting into this a little bit yesterday with Greg Ducharme. Bryson, okay, there's only one shot that everybody hits from the same locations. It's the tee shot. You have a perfect lie every single time. Bryson is having the greatest driving year ever recorded. Now, people are going to say, well, it's live strokes gained and that field's weak or whatever, but it's still he picked up 6.5 strokes off the tee at the PGA Championship. He picked up 5 off the tee at the Masters. That alone is just such a high floor. And while Rahm is an excellent driver of the golf ball, it might be like he might pick up 1 or 1.5 this week. So I'm thrilled with Bryson's chances again. I think since this, since he's gone to live, I think this is the best venue for him. Basically since Winged Foot. So I'm happy.
I'm also happy as I tweet this out because I want the world to know, Rick, that we have none other than Patrick McDonald joining us right now from Oakmont. I think he just dabbed. I'm not 100% sure. Patrick,
stop it, gentlemen.
How
are you guys doing? Wednesday show, I like it. A little teaser, a little appetizer before the main course. You guys look great. The red on you, see ya, it's popping. And Rick, come on, that baby blue, forget about it.
It's good to see you, Patrick.
It is.
It's I'll have you know it's blood orange, and I'm trying to I've got a lot of appearances today. I'm trying to go a different shirt every single show, so I literally just changed. Thank you for acknowledging this. Patrick, I don't know how long you can be on with us, but we got to pepper you with some questions. As by the way, Mike McClure is in the chat. You can ask him anything you want as well. Patrick, I mean, I was just talking to Rick. We were just having a spirited discussion on the rough and accuracy versus distance and all of those things. If you could drop just a few pieces of intel on us in terms of what you've seen and how that might be consistent with the narrative or maybe diverging from the narrative a little bit.
Yeah, I'll say this, Rick. Remember that conversation we had at the PGA Championship about how Dick's Sporting Goods bought Foot Locker and we were completely baffled? You know who I met today on the 16th tee? The husband of the head of investments of Dick's Sporting Goods.
Wow.
And I said, dude, they overpaid. And he goes, you don't understand. It was a way to get a foot into the international market, which I guess Dick's Sporting Goods currently does not have. So back to the original question.
I'm stunned by that.
About this golf course, apparently. I have not been strolling down Narrative Street this week. The lights have been off. It seems pretty dangerous. I think the rough conversation is taken away from what this golf course actually presents. And these green complexes are freaking nuts, man. They're absolutely nuts. I was standing around 13 today, just scratching my head, wondering how these guys are going to really maneuver their golf ball around. And we're even seeing guys on the practice greens you're looking at them hit 20, 25 footers. You're like, oh my goodness, they're coming up 3 feet short every single time. They're doing it on purpose, right? They'd rather give themselves 3 feet underneath the hole than 2.5 feet above, right? And they're saying they're putting very defensive out here, which in my mind come back to just pure ball striker. So my pick for the last 2 years at Oakmont has been Scotty Scheffler. It's still my pick today. Obviously, Bryson DeChambeau, like you guys were mentioning, is a great selection as well. Really going out on a limb here with these two favorites. But I think the green complexes and how they slope is something that these guys are not used to. A lot of front pitching to back as well, which is awesome. Every golf course needs a few of those moving forward, I think.
I think, Patrick, I wanted to ask you about how receptive the greens were, but the more that I was thinking about this, I'm not sure it entirely matters. Obviously it matters, but like there are going to be some pin locations that it doesn't matter how receptive the greens are when everything's just going to roll however far away, right? It's a battle against gravity. So I don't know how is the weather, or is there a chance that receptive greens change the outcome of this? Or is it even possible that they're just never receptive?
Yeah, I think receptive greens could change the outcome because right now it hasn't rained in a couple days, right? Last rain was Monday night. I believe we dodged some yesterday. No rain so far today. An underrated aspect of Oakmont is how, honestly, links-like it feels out here. The wind is whipping. You have to land the ball on a number of holes. You think 1, you think 10, you think the par 5, 12th, also the long par 5. I was walking with Wilcox and Sung Jae today. Sung Jae hit one with an iron just barely on the front of the green. It rolled all the way through the back. And so you're going to have to land your ball 20, 30 yards short, potentially, of some of these pins. Number 10 in particular, that's a short iron where you're going to have to land that potentially short also to a front pin location, which is very uncomfortable for these guys because, like you mentioned, Rick, they're used to one hop, stop, maybe roll it back a little bit. And so if it does get receptive, I think that does help those guys who might be uncomfortable with the creativity aspect of it.
Everything you've been saying, I'm thinking of, and I'm sure we could come up with a list of like the creative golfer, but also I wonder if we should be leaning on putting even more. I know a lot of people understand that putting is going to be really important, whether it's just putting or lag putting or whatever the case may be. But I wonder if that's like the great equalizer here. Should we maybe be putting just a ton of weight on strokes gain creativity and strokes gain putting?
Creativity, yes. The putting angle is interesting to me because if you're out of position here, you are just completely boned, absolute Zamboni. It's coming in the intermission every which way after 1, after 2, and even after 3 when the game's over. And so I understand the weight on putting. I think lag putting will be very important this week and something because there's so much stress around this place where if you're not dialed in with the speed on the greens, and we're already seeing, Rick, I know you mentioned this a lot, we've seen this golf course evolve a ton from Monday until now. It's going to continue to do that on Thursday and Friday and potentially take a step back over the weekend. So if you're not one of those guys who's absolutely dialed in on the greens in terms of speed and you're leaving, say, those potential tap-in pars, those potential easy 2-putt pars, and instead you're giving yourself 4 to 6 feet, that's a lot of stress for me. And so lag putting, I think if you want to add a weight to it, it'd be there.
That's interesting. So let me ask you this, because you were doing your job over there at Oakmont. You weren't on the Best Bet show yesterday. Yeah, your job. It's that for all of us, of course.
Got lost in the city. I was in the cut for a while. Different conversation.
Very interesting.
I need to hear that.
Talk to me about some golfers you have your eye on, because obviously you are more intimately familiar than most in terms of what this course calls for. Maybe some like top tier golfers and middle tier golfers that you think are going to succeed here.
Yeah, I really wanted to like Xander. I felt like that was going to be a popular bet coming into the week. He's a big dog with a 2 in front of his odds. And so naturally that's one you could gravitate towards. But he's been working with CNN analyst Chris Cuomo a ton on the range, trying to figure out that driver of his. Not to be confused with swing coach Chris Como, who is well known around these parts. But he's really trying to dial in that driver, which isn't always great. And that started early Monday, and it's still continuing today. Rory followed him for a bit. First tee shot of the day, almost hit the street outside Oakmont, which is never good. All-time crop job by the DP World Tour. Have to tip my cap to them. You saw him like take one hand off the club. You saw the marshal wave right. They cropped it all out. No one would have been the wiser. And so after his 9, he immediately went to the range. Looked like he was definitely working on something. A lot of times staring at an iPad like kids these days. And so kind of out on Xander, out on Rory, Scheffler's and Bryson. Like it seems like they're going to duke it out. I like Rahm as well, but off the beaten path. Dude, I can't get over Keegan Bradley. All in on Keegan Bradley. Oh my gosh, I'm so in on him.
But is this just because you've been in on him and it's
talk to
in on him, or is this like you actually think Oakmont is a good spot for him?
I think, Rick, there are a bunch of guys here who can't wait to miss the cut Friday evening.
Wow.
and I don't think Keegan Bradley's like that at all. I think he's chomping at the bit right now, and he's driving it great. His short game has been very underrated this season. And say everyone does struggle on the greens, that helps someone like Keegan Bradley. So Bradley's a pick, and that kind of almost intertwines with Corey Connors, who's not going to win, but I'm sure. I haven't really looked at the odds too much this week. I'm sure top 20 is like plus money, and so I'd go there.
I can tell you right now, Corey Connors top 20 is
plus 210,
plus 140.
Wow.
Keegan top 20 plus 200.
Okay, yeah.
Oh, odds maker there.
All right. You got anything else for me, guys? I could do this all day.
Well,
or can I get out of here yet?
Well, okay, like a 2-part thing here. I want to like rattle off some. Well, first of all, have you seen any other headliners or any other players that you were impressed by? Like that, what you just said about Roy was very interesting at the very least. Were there any other guys you saw that you were like, that looked really good, or that looked really bad, or for some reason he feels like he's got some swagger, some Ben Griffin nerd swagger that Rick was referring to before you came on?
Ben Griffin nerd swagger. I did see Ryan Gerard's dad again, Rick.
Did he remember you?
I guess it's no, he had absolutely no idea who I was. I was like, Bob, my man. I don't even know if his name's Bob, to tell you the truth, but I felt confident. It felt right at the time.
I think it is. I think it is.
Yeah, better be. And I just want to say hi. Last time we shook hands, you had a great week at the PGA Championship. Let's keep a good thing going. He's like, all right, dude. Like,
all right, crazy guy.
Who have I seen? That's a phenomenal question.
Fleets?
I did see Fleetwood. Oh, you know who I walked with yesterday? Just a crazy group. It was Min Woo, Tom Kim, Patrick Reed, and Jason Day.
Whoa.
And so Tom Kim, Min Woo Lee, there's some potential there, but I'm afraid he'll turn into an extremist, which believe it or not, is kind of likely here in Western Pennsylvania based on recent history.
Animal. How does he get away with this?
And just going way left and way right. That's what I'm concerned about.
He's on fire.
He just absolutely pummels the golf ball, which I think could help. Reed, always in on Patrick Reed. I'll never be out on that guy. And then Jason Day, not really in on that either. So those were the 4 today. Walked by Fleetwood, Scott Benson. I followed some Virginia Tech guys around for absolutely no reason because they have no chance. But I followed Sungjae for the back 9 today just because Wilcox was giving me some nuggets, which was very kind of him. He says Sungjae is hitting his irons a lot better. He's like, this isn't going to be a week where he's just leading the field and strokes gained around the green. He thinks he has a chance. And he hit a number of high-quality long irons in fairway woods today into 16. He pumped a 3-wood pin high like 15 feet, and that hole is so freaking hard. And so I will say the one part I haven't talked about is the wind and the direction it's been blowing so far. 12's down off the left, but 16 and 17, I think it favors a fader of the golf ball, where it's coming off the right on 16 and it's coming off the right on 17. And so if you're hooking one on 17, could come in a little hot, but I think faders might have a chance to hold the green there, if that makes sense. Very slim chance, but
what's the is there a plan for the weather for the week? It looks like there's going to be rain coming. Are they going to try, do we have any idea how this course is going to handle it or how it's going to change? Is there sub air, and what are we doing?
They'll be fine. I I think they'll play through the rain unless there's electricity, which, I mean, there's already electricity in the air. If you guys are catching my drift, a ton of people out here at this great site of the national championship. Yeah, it's a cubicle. Gipper picks. I don't
Get over it, Gipper.
I don't have an office quite yet around this place.
Office on Oakmont.
I'm shaking hands and kissing babies. It's not working. Okay. I asked the head of comms at the USGA if I could play Oakmont on Monday, and she just like gave me the stank eye. She's like, not happening, man. Rain. It drains well though. It drains well. I will say that. A lot of ravines and stuff.
Okay.
You
You don't seem that worried about it.
No, not at all. You kidding me? This is Pittsburgh, blue collar town, tough workers.
Okay.
Things of that nature.
People want to know? No one wants to know have you seen Ludwig?
Have I seen Ludwig? I've seen Skobrin. I haven't seen Ludwig though, which is surprising. I haven't seen him, unfortunately. Apologies for that.
No, I just because he's somewhat of a popular selection beyond the top three.
Is
before, yeah, I mean, Rick, you like him too. It sounded like you liked him. I mean, there's total driving.
Yeah,
if he's back on, he could
He's
be
my
there.
boy.
Yeah, I get it. I guess. Whatever. Check out this view of the range from the media center, though. Whoa,
looks sick.
Whoa! I have a weird setting on. Give me a second here.
Not playing Oakmont Monday. It's really funny. I assume Josh did that.
Look at that.
Here we go.
Wait, I have to block these out. No one needs to see my previous picture.
That's very sick. How's the food? Are you allowed to eat it?
Dude, so much better than the PGA Championship.
I know.
Where Rick and I only ate sandwiches and ice cream sandwiches. But Rick, you'd be proud. I did meet the head of catering today. So, and the guy who's making the coffee for us said he recognized me from TikTok. Which,
Nice.
Which is,
Wednesday night here in Oakmont.
This
is amazing content. Patrick, I don't want to let you go. You like we have to let you go, right?
I honestly don't really have a whole lot going. I have HQ at 6:30. I don't know if you're on that one with me. See ya.
I am.
Okay, nice.
Do you want to help us answer some questions? We got a lot of chat questions. Do you want to help until you have to go?
Let me do it. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So let's get to
who we got.
Well, Charlie says loving Ludwig this week. Thoughts? I mean, I think we kind of covered that one.
Idiot.
By the way, hit the like button for Patrick because he's on fire right now, and the chat is absolutely loving it. When it comes to betting in DFS, should we use past course history when the U.S. Open was staged at Oakmont in 2016? So we're not really doing that, right, guys?
Joseph Boza, take a lap.
Realistically, there's been a lot that's changed, and it's too long ago.
Yeah, I like Dustin Johnson. I like Angel Cabrera. In my sleeper in the 5K range is Ernie Els.
We just did a bunch of sleepers in the 5K range. Ernie Els did not come up. Victor Perez is an interesting favorite, -125 over Mackenzie Hughes. I actually like Victor Perez this week. I don't know that I'd take a -125 against Mackenzie Hughes, though. Anybody have any thoughts on either of those two?
Give me Hughes plus money. He had a child lugging his bag around today on number 9, so I like where his mentality is for the week. He just pulled a kid out of the crowd and put him to work, which I love. That's the working class spirit of Pittsburgh. And I think Hughes, sneaky. Remember he played Torrey Pines really well in that U.S. Open?
Yeah.
I feel like he can kind of sneakily get around a tough place and just scramble his butt off a ton.
He was the 54-hole leader, or like it was a tri-lead, right? Him, Russell, and somebody else.
Richard Bland.
Blandy, man.
Blandemonium.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, if we're looking at strokes gained creativity and grit, which you were kind of referring to when you were talking about Keegan, that Hughes is an interesting name, particularly for DFS. All right, let's see. Better bet Ryan Fox in the top 20 or Taylor Pendrith in the top 20?
I'm going to go Fox.
I'm going to go Pendy.
I'm going Fox.
Are they like pretty much like the exact same player? Fox might be a better putter.
Fox might be a little bit of a better putter. Pendrith is like hit or miss. Like he can putt well, but it doesn't happen all the time. but they're very similar. I think they both set up well for this week.
Fox is one of my long shot outrights. I just left the money on the table from last week. All right. Robert Andrews says, seems like everyone's high on the live golfers. Could it be because their bogey avoidance is great because they play easy courses?
Love this, Robert. Love this take. I'm going to steal it from you on HQ tonight.
They haven't made a bogey all year.
Yeah. Rom's round 4 scoring is 0 on live golf this year.
You can't get any lower than that.
Pretty low. I think they like live golfers because Bryson's playing really well, Rom's playing really well, and Neiman's playing really well. And then Patrick Reed, wild card. How can you not like that guy? I don't know any other live golfers people like this week. Mark
what about Terrell Hatton?
No, absolutely not. In a U.S. Open, Sia? What?
I'm so sorry. I think he's sneaky for DFS. I did a lineup.
What's his price?
I think it's like 7,800, something in that range.
In this economy, recession indicator. Get out of here.
Those Scotty lineups with a handful of 7K guys, like Straka's in that same range. Those types of players that have some upside. Chris Kish says, I'm deep in the DFS mental debate of Bryson versus Rahm versus Scotty. It's really hard picking a player when your brain tells you they won't win. We just need Scotty, right? Interesting.
What are those 3 ownerships looking like? Kind of over my head, honestly.
So Scotty's gonna be like 40% owned. Everybody's playing Scotty. Bryson probably 25. John Rahm 23ish.
Oh, really? I'd go Bryson then. At that. Like I think he's a much better play than Rahm.
Well, you can also, because of the discount you're getting on Bryson, you can play Bryson and Rahm in a lineup and definitely get away with it.
That was the other thing.
Really?
You could definitely do that, yeah.
Dang. Who are some of the 5K diamonds in the rough? The deep rough around here in Oakmont. I don't know if you guys know that. That you guys
Gotterup's my guy.
Yeah.
Gotterup, you know who's more expensive than Gotterup? Nick Dunlap. And Zach Blair, which I just find interesting, and a couple of names that I'm not even that familiar with. But in the 5K range, we've got a couple of names we mentioned before you got on. Matthew McCarty is in there, Patrick, and he's been pretty good. Emiliano Grillo, who's been pretty good. Let's see, who did you say? Oh, Victor Perez, I mentioned. Sam Stevens, I think, is actually really interesting. And then there was one more. Rick, what was one of the 5K guys you said?
Oh,
or maybe we just covered them all. I think actually.
Ballester, Jose Ballester.
That's what it was.
Yeah, pretty sure. I'd take a bet on Ballester right now. Give me whatever price. You can book it, Rick, to take a whiz in the church pews bunker. I'll tell you that
much. Yeah, that's I think the juice is. I think that's
not
like
high enough for like full
it's
coverage.
Not for, no privacy.
Yeah, and you got 3, and then you're coming back on 4. It's risky, but I mean,
it's risky.
Yeah. Could be worth the squeeze.
Let's see here. Where did I just get lost? Oh, okay. So we are at Scott. No, we are at Harris English plus 120 over Tommy Fleetwood in a round 1 matchup. Says so. I have Harris English as a first round leader at 75 to 1. Patrick, your thoughts here?
I love Harris English this week. Little concerned about people riding him just based off that one round at the PGA Championship. But you look at him on difficult golf courses, I actually look to the final round of Torrey Pines and the way he scratched and clawed his way to victory there and how a similar type of play is going to be needed this week. So I do like him. Against Tommy Ladd in round 1 is tough, though, because Fleetwood, man, I think he's going to be around. I think he's going to be lurking in this championship. He kind of perpetually is. So I'd lay away, but if I had to make a bet on that, I would go English with the plus 120.
Rick, thoughts here?
Yeah, that's. I don't think I have a strong opinion either way. I think both those guys are pretty solid options in general.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, Jay Buser wants to know, Rick, do you have a make the cut parlay?
No.
Why is he asking you that? Do you normally
do the opposite? I would do the opposite.
Miss the cut parlay?
There's what? It's top 60 this week.
Yeah. I actually think that's a great call. Now, granted, how many are there that like definitely aren't making the cut? Is it like 25 or 30 that are like just have no chance? So we're dealing with a field.
Who are we talking about? Like Tom Kim, Brooks Koepka.
All these guys. I would do like Minwoo. I would do like
You can pile up some miss the cut guys in that sort of Nick Dunlap range, like a few, maybe even more, and
Dunlap,
get like a pretty solid plus number. I'm certain of that.
He'll be gone Thursday afternoon.
Let me see what we can get on this.
That's actually a good call. The miss the cut parlays.
Yeah,
a
go
really
miss.
good call.
Root for mayhem.
I'm going to put one of those together. I'll tweet it out. I'll put it in the SportsLine Discord. It won't be something crazy, but it'll be something that I think is perhaps worth.
Hold on. What was the other one? Oh, Tom Kim, Brooks Koepka.
Definitely. Tom Kim's like minus 118, I think, to miss the cut. Love that.
All right. If
Koepka.
you do, how about this? Tom Kim, Brooks Koepka, Nick Dunlap, Phil Mickelson.
Yeah. What is it?
That's 6.5 to 1.
Whoa. Sign me the F up for that. Are you kidding me? 6.5 to 1. And that's 4 guys.
4 guys. Then if you start getting free, like throw Zach Blair in there, 9.5 to 1.
Yeah, I mean, dude, you kidding me? That guy's still designing a fake golf course, I think. Just kidding. He's a BJ guy. We're boys. He'd like that.
Let's see here. I'm seeing somebody saying hit the like button. That's good advice. Mike thinks that the ownership's going to really be volatile over until lock. He thinks that Bryson's going to pick up a lot more ownership and potentially Rahm as well, which makes sense because a lot of people are talking about both of those guys. So we'll see about that. Let's see. Why were we so high on Rory last majors and not now? Just that one recent hiccup. If nobody wants Rory, I'm happy to take him. I mean, that's an interesting question.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
He cannot drive it as bad as he did last time we saw him. And I agree. Everyone's all hot and bothered over like 2 really bad rounds.
For Rory?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's like honestly the problem with sports, and I think golf definitely is the leader in this in recency bias. It's like, okay, he hit his driver bad a couple of times. I think he's going to make the cut. I think even if he hits the driver poorly. But the one on number 1 did not inspire confidence. But I think it was just aimed a little too far right, honestly.
Today's swings don't count.
Exactly.
Joey B says odds on Sia's laundry detergent, which apparently is a topic of conversation in the chat. Gain minus 110, Tide minus 100, dry clean only is even money. Sorry about that.
You don't.
I don't dry clean, like unless I absolutely have to. It's got to be like a suit. I think dry clean is like one of the biggest ripoffs in like all the land. People get shirts dry clean that do not need to be dry cleaned. I just want to put that out there.
That's definitely true, but I love a good dry clean. But you don't have to dry clean like
right.
But the shirts.
That's the thing. And like any sort of long sleeve button down, people spend like $5 a shirt on that. Like, what are we actually doing here? And then they wear it once and they dry clean it again. 5 dry cleans, you could buy a new shirt. Patrick, what are your thoughts on dry cleaning?
5 dry cleans doesn't save you enough money to buy a B Dratty shirt, Patrick. Work yourself out of that.
B Dratty, if you use code McDonald20, you can buy pretty much anything off that website, including their new US Open collection, which is quite nice. So why dry clean when you can use code McDonald20?
When you can just buy a new, why dry clean or wash, but you can just buy new shirts.
I don't have a code for the dry cleaner. Sorry.
That's the Allen Iverson method. He just bought new clothes at every new city. Like he didn't. Yeah.
How'd that go for him?
Paul Tolliver has a question about Thorbjorn Olesen, which reminds me of something. He says Thorbjorn Olesen to finish in the top 10. Patrick, your response also, I think you look like a young Jim Nance. Has anybody ever told you that? And answer the Olesen question, please.
Yeah, Olesen. I'm not going to say the joke I was going to, but let's just say it's in the Ballester realm. The Olesen thing, he was playing with a lot of Danes this week. That's all I could really figure out. I saw him on the range a couple times, smaller in person than you would think, but he's playing pretty good golf, right? What did he do last week? People liked him last week.
He got off to that hot start. He's like first round leader. He gained like 7 strokes in round 1, and then he just faded to like 35th or something.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I ain't got time for Thorbjorn Olesen. No.
Yeah. I don't know what the number is, Paul. That would be helpful. I assume it's in the plus like 4 range, plus 380, something like that. But I will say this: FanDuel is offering a 3-ball, but DraftKings and MGM don't have it for whatever reason. I think FanDuel has all the 3-ball offerings, whereas some of the other major sports books don't. I found, and I put this out yesterday, I think on the betting show. I'm trying to remember where, but Olesen in a 3-ball against Noah Kent, that's the Gator, the college kid, and Tristan Lawrence. And Olesen is minus 125 in that 3-ball for round 1. I actually really, even though it's a 3-ball with minus money in front of it, I really like Olesen over Lawrence and Noah Kent for a first round 3-ball. Throwing that out there.
You know who I do like this week is Aaron Rye. All in on Rye guy. He had this shot up 9 that maybe got a foot off the ground. It was sick. So
are you in on the rich man's Aaron Rye then?
Who's that?
Obviously Colin Morikawa.
Oh, Colin, we have a weird relationship, me and him. Like none. We don't have a relationship. The one thing that has like turned me off Colin, one of few things that have turned me off Colin Morikawa is at the Memorial. I believe it was Muirfield. He said he was searching for something, but he didn't know what. And he was like, golfers out there can relate. And I was like, oh, can we? And so that was the one reason. And then LKD, Rick's boy from Golf Digest, the swing.
He should be everybody's boy. Why is he just my boy? He's everybody's boy.
Your boy.
But he is my boy.
He did a video on Morikawa working through like his posture, his spine angle, all this stuff, trying to get more space for the arms. And it's just like, I don't like that on the week leading up to the U.S. Open. So I'm good. I'm good on Colin.
Can I, first of all, props to Josh, who was changing the lower third on you. Doesn't know Colin Morikawa.
We did have a one-on-one interview last year in Charlotte.
How did that go?
He has no idea who I am still.
By the way, we have people quote tweeting, Patrick, what you're saying on this show. Steven Andress, he says, notes from this pod and Patrick McDonald on the ground. And he's like,
this is off the record, dude.
Yes,
you
of
cannot
course.
do that. That's, I mean, poor
yeah, go grab some of his other quotes that he said on his show.
Poor journalistic.
He's not gonna have a job by the end of the day.
I'm reporting him to the FTC.
Hey, let's Mike McClure, I think, is still in the chat. He says, tell me I'm crazy for having my biggest bet of the week on Hideki Matsuyama top 40 at minus 120. Rick, you start.
I'm sorry. Say that again. Who's the top 40?
Top 40 biggest bet of the week for Mike McClure is Hideki Matsuyama top 40.
I'm okay with that. Hideki is great in difficult conditions. Hideki is outside of the last major championship, like a major champion. It was 19 cuts in a row. We just talked about what the cut record is. No, I think that is quite savvy.
Yeah, I agree. You talk about like Bryson's driver gives him a high floor. Hideki's short game does too.
Yeah.
All right. Brad Merrill says, I like Bryson, but don't like it only at plus 750. He's going to sprinkle. Oh, I guess maybe that's a parlay. I'm not sure what he's talking about. With sprinkle on Bryson, first round leader and winner. Okay. Yeah. So he's putting them together at plus 4,000.
Okay.
I mean, I can see it.
That.
Yeah. If it's a sprinkle, bet responsibly. Let's see. Looking for more questions. I'm looking at the comments too. That's why I'm kind of taking my time here. Sorry. Okay. Japan says Harrison. Oh, we already covered that. I'm sorry. Patrick versus Gehman. Who would shoot the lower score using U.S. Open tees at Oakmont under tournament conditions? Now, Joey B has the line at Patrick minus 125. And no offense, Rick, but I feel like it should be a little bit.
I would smash the Patrick minus 125 line.
Yeah.
This spread's insane. I'd middle the heck out of this somehow. Give me another book to bet this through.
I mean, Rick, you've got a good golf game, but Patrick's like really good.
Patrick's stout. Patrick is very stout.
Yeah, I shot 76 there in the summer of 2020. People forget. My scorecard is actually right above, not under, Johnny Miller 63 in the clubhouse.
Yes, I saw that.
Who's better between Patrick and Greg Ducharme, though?
I think Greg can take my money.
See, Greg doesn't play a lot, but Greg is very good. Also, Greg is like a season. I guess Patrick has some good competition golf under his belt.
I haven't played competitive golf since sophomore or junior year of college.
Greg's not afraid to be in the heat. I'm not. I think Patrick is TBD. Yeah,
I will. Any sign of pressure, smell you later.
Justin Wyatt is asking the TikTok king, which of course is Patrick McDonald, who quote thinks he's off the record. Can you give me a 5-leg T20 parlay that will pay for my Labor Day golf trip? So you've got homework for TikTok later.
Okay, no, we're doing this right now because I have a play a hole with Sung JM dialed in the drafts on the talk. Okay, top 20 parlay. Let's get a little creative here. We're gonna go Keegan Bradley, Corey Connors, Scotty Bryson. And then you want a little bit of a wild card in there, kind of maybe that mid-range tier. And so I'm going to go with Jordan Spieth.
Ooh, I'm starting to like Jordan Spieth at this tournament. And I'm not a Jordan Spieth guy, but just based on what Patrick's telling me and just based on what he's been doing off the tee, which is pretty impressive. Patrick, it sounds like you're kind of in on Jordan Spieth.
Hold on. What was it? Spieth, Keegan, Connors. Who were the other ones?
Bryson and Scotty.
Bryson.
Real brave. Okay.
Well, you got to throw like a couple bones.
All right. I have the odds on that.
Let's hear it.
So this has to pay for a Labor Day golf trip. How much does a Labor Day golf trip cost? $5,000?
Oh, this day and age, yeah. Gosh.
Can I guess what this number is?
Sure.
Who was the outlier one? Oh, it was Spieth. Okay. Well,
Spieth, Keegan, and Connors are
plus
what?
1340.
I'm gonna say 60-1.
What?
47 to 1.
Whoa.
So if you put $100 down, you have, and this hits, you have $4,700 to spend on a Labor Day golf trip, which would be a pretty good golf trip if you had $4,800.
So I guess I thought the Bryson and Scotty numbers would be.
Well, Bryson and Scott. Well, Bryson's minus 225. Scotty's minus 700. But the other ones are plus 230, plus 225, plus 170.
What if you take Scotty out and put Rahm in?
Scotty out, Rahm in, 64 to 1.
There you go. Boom.
Yeah, that's it. That's
famous
a
last words.
That's
Rahm, T21.
What I Willie says, Ludwig versus JT full tournament. I wish we knew the price on that, but Ludwig's got to be a big favorite.
Give me anything.
He wasn't, because this was one of my ones that I did this week. It was like minus 110.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Give me Ludwig.
Yeah, I like Ludwig there as well. Do you agree, Rick?
Yes, I'm on the Ludwig side.
DJ making the cut. Your thoughts, gentlemen?
Probably not.
I'm gonna say yeah.
I'm gonna say no.
Why are you saying yeah?
I saw him almost hit a fairway on a walk and talk with Johnson Wagner. So
he's plus 110 to make the cut. So it's basically even money.
Interesting. Okay. Sung J.M. or Aaron Rye in a match bet?
Rye.
Those are your two guys, Patrick.
You want some breaking news on the record from the grounds?
Yes.
Let's see if we can show this adequately. Oh my God, it's a long video. I'm a moron. Here's number 17.
We can't see it. Get it closer to the.
There you go. Okay. Oh wow.
Whoa, whose ball is that? Oh, wait a minute. Let me take the pin. Boom. See you later. That was some JM, by the way, for you. Yeah, I'm gonna go Rye.
Wait, did we decide if you liked Colin this week? Do either of you like Colin at all this week, whether it's DFS or betting or anything else?
I will not have a lot of Colin this week. I think it's a very narrow path for him.
Yeah, I don't need to get involved. I'm good. I'm good.
Any news on this alleged Brooks Koepka injury? People were, I think, talking about his knee or something. Patrick, have you seen Brooks?
No, because they've kind of had this little man, what movie is it from? It's escaping me right now, where they kind of build a wall around them and the person in the middle is walking around so they're protected, almost like Secret Service, not to harp back on that. But he just had like so many people around him on the driving range. I have no idea.
It doesn't matter if he's hurt or not. He's just not playing well enough.
Yeah,
no,
that's true.
I didn't know that though. Interesting.
Let's see. Farzad agrees with my dry cleaning take. Sites 501, Bryson plus Ludwig or Rahm plus Xander. I assume this is a DFS question. So Bryson plus Ludwig or Rahm plus Xander. Patrick, you first.
I'll go Rahm and Xander.
Nah, I like the other side.
Yeah, I like the other side too.
I do too, but I knew you guys were gonna say that. So Showbiz, baby.
Let's see. Joey B says, who ate more ice cream sandwiches at the PGA Championship, Gehman or McDonald?
They were scarce. They were scarce.
I know. I know who ate more Uncrustables. That was me.
Oh, yeah. I'm allergic.
So it's definitely me. There was one time, it was so sad. Patrick said, by the way, we were just running on nothing because Patrick can't eat anything and we're not allowed to eat anything. So there was one time where I was walking back to the food area and Patrick was like, hey man, I'm about to pass out. Can you just grab me? Could you just grab me a breakfast sandwich? And I get over there, open up the thing, not a single breakfast sandwich in sight. I said, man, you're just not eating today, buddy boy. So
the ice cream selection here is top notch.
I'll tell you what, USGA does a great job of food.
But I will say I received some pretty disheartening medical news on Tuesday where my LDL levels, my cholesterol, slightly above normal. So I've just been starving myself. Like I'm never gonna eat again.
Yeah. You know, you could just eat healthy stuff. With the HDL as opposed to the LDL.
Man, I've been crushing quinoa. You guys ever heard of that food before?
Yeah.
I've been crushing quinoa. I think it's gonna help.
Quinoa's not bad.
Well, good luck.
Underrated. Yeah, so I'm battling through that.
You're a tough guy though. I think you'll be all right.
I will say this. People are kind of like probably think I'm popping off just because it's Wednesday. I'm in a live chat, not normally on this show. Rick knows I'm a completely different beast when I'm on site.
Oh,
there are no rules.
Something else is running through his veins when he's on site.
I'm on like 4 cold brews and no food, just quinoa.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's the end of the question. So we can get Patrick, we can get you out of here. Rick, obviously you too. I'm loving these lower thirds. Dry clean hater, a nerd with swag, and quinoa and cold brews. Go ahead, Patrick.
Yeah, one more thing about just general world etiquette. It happened to me not once but twice on the plane this past weekend where I'm a window guy. I sit in an economy plus on United. I have silver status. I'm not trying to brag right now. It's just a fact. It is just a fact. I get a free check bag and I get a free upgrade 24 hours before my flight. No big deal. This new thing happening on these flights, window guy here, are people are not getting up out of their seats when I said, hey, can I get out into the aisle? And so they just do the leg thing.
Yeah. Oh, that's unacceptable.
They do the leg thing.
So now you have to straddle them.
Yeah. So which way do you go? Do you
which way do you go?
Do you put your butt in their face, or
does
do you
it matter?
Your front
does it matter? Does it matter who the person is?
So here's the thing: the kicker. Middle seat was a woman 5 to 10 years older than me. End seat was a grown man watching an iPad like a little boy, and so I honestly, I pretty much dove over, and I was almost stomach down in the aisle. Thank God the seat on the other side was empty. I was holding it up barely, and this woman has the audacity. She goes, "You doing okay?" Does it look like a woman? I'm not doing okay. And the way back, same thing. I went butt though. I went butt to face.
I think butt to face is the safest.
How long was the flight, Patrick?
It's on me.
Yeah, why are you getting up? That's bad. That's the bad etiquette.
Look, I have a high cholesterol. My bladder is a little small. Like, stuff happens. And you're probably thinking to yourself at home, you're listening to this crazy man talk on this betting show, and you're thinking, why would a guy with a small bladder be a window seat guy? It's because I wasn't always this way, right? I wasn't. It's a new development. It's called aging. No one likes to age. It just happens. And so I'm getting better about it. I'm not eating. I'm not drinking. I'm not doing anything. I'm just living right now and eating quinoa. So hopefully that helps.
This is amazing. I don't want this to stop. Okay, we'll close with this. Who's your winner, Patrick? And then Rick, you give me a winner as well.
Scotty Scheffler is going to win by 3.
Who's your winner in the without Scotty market? I hate to just change it to betting, but I'm also assuming Scotty's going to win. Who else?
Well, I think all of us first and foremost, and then after that, I would say Keegan Bradley. Love Keegan this week.
Wow,
miscut
Rick,
income.
Is Scotty winning? And if
yes.
So, who's coming in?
Yes, but I think Bryson and Ludwig. I think I'm quite hot on all of those guys.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
I
right.
agree. Bryson, like, so boring. Like, oh, here's the value. It's like, okay, just like everyone has eyes out there. They know how good Scotty is. They know how good Bryson is.
Correct. All right. Well, that'll do it. Ladies and gentlemen, we actually have this week, because it's a major, we have round recaps. Obviously, Thursday,
Oh.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We also will be on CBS Sports Network, this early Wedge show, tomorrow and Friday. I believe both of those show times are at 12 o'clock, and then our round recaps, I think, are at 8:30 right after the round ends, 8:30 Eastern time, every single day of the U.S. Open, including a final round recap as well, where we'll be talking about the winner. We all won because Patrick McDonald just jumped into this show, and it was absolutely electric. Patrick dabbing on his way out as well. Rick shaking his head in disappointment. Rick, can you leave us with a final thought before we get out of here?
Enjoy the golf. We are halfway through major championship season, and by the time we get through tomorrow's round, we'll be more than halfway through. These go fast. Enjoy it.
I got one more thing to say. Everything said on this podcast was off the record.
Too late.
Off the record. If you're reporting it out there, I'm reporting you.
This is the Early Wedge. We'll see you next time, folks.